Now then, which form of European football are these 6 teams here going to get for next season? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. We now know that these 6 teams right here have confirmed their place in some form of European football for next season. Liverpool, of course, are the Premier League champions. That's done and dusted. That's cemented that they're going to be going into the Champions League for the next campaign. But as for these 6 teams right here, with only 2 games to go of the current season, we still have no idea what form of European football that they're going to be competing in for the next campaign. Will it be Champions League? Will it be Europa League? Or will it be Europa Conference League? That is what is left to be determined of this current campaign. And like I say, with 2 games to go, I felt it was only necessary to talk about this, highlight it, and of course go through each of these clubs' final 2 games of the season and try and predict the outcomes to try and determine which form of European football these 6 teams are going to be competing in for the next campaign. Without further ado though, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated, along with of course your comments, thoughts, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it in the comment section down below. Please do get involved in the conversation. Would love to hear what you guys have to say on this intriguing topic of discussion. And without further ado, let's get on. We're talking about the remainder of this Premier League season and of course what it may lead to for these teams in the future. So, let's just have a look quickly at the Premier League table as things currently stand. Liverpool, of course, Premier League champions. Done and dusted as far as what they're concerned. They're going to be playing in the Champions League for next season. But the 6 teams below them, they've confirmed their place in European football for next season, but they just don't know which tier of European football that they're going to be competing in for the next campaign. As things currently stand, Arsenal, Newcastle, Manchester City and Chelsea will make up the remainder of the top 5 and therefore be competing in the Champions League for the 25-26 season, whilst Aston Villa will be heading into the Europa League, and Nottingham Forest, who nobody really expected them to do anything this season other than potentially get relegated, are going to be playing in the Europa Conference League for the next campaign in what has been a brilliant season for the Nottingham-based club. But as things currently stand, that is maybe not how things are going to line up come the end of the season. We've still got 2 games remaining, and there are going to be some big games between now and then to determine which tier of European football that these 6 teams are going to be competing in for the next campaign. And as you look, Arsenal and Newcastle are only separated by 2 points. And spoiler alert, they play each other this upcoming weekend. Manchester City are 3 points behind Arsenal and are just 3 points ahead of Nottingham Forest. Chelsea are on 63 points, as are Aston Villa. The Blues are only ahead of Unai Emery's side because of goal difference. So realistically, it is definitely all to play for in terms of determining European football for the next campaign. Let's look ahead to the games next, shall we? Arsenal have got Newcastle at home and Southampton away from home to make up their final 2 games of the campaign, whilst Newcastle will of course play Arsenal and then Everton at home on the final day of the season. Manchester City have Bournemouth at home and Fulham away. Chelsea have Man United at home and then Forest away. Villa have both Europa League finalists in Spurs and Manchester United to contend with for their end of the season. And Nottingham Forest have West Ham, followed by what could be a huge game against Chelsea on the final day of their season. Now, it is worth pointing out that there could be more European places up for grabs. For example, if Crystal Palace are to win the FA Cup at the expense of Manchester City, there could be they will obviously go into the Europa League as well. I think that if Chelsea win the Europa Conference League but drop as low as 6th, I think that there will be an extra Europa League place granted to the Premier League as well. So I think that there could be a couple of things like that obviously mean there could be more places up for grabs for European football. But like I say, these 6 teams have guaranteed their place. So we're going to be focusing on these 6 for the here and now. Look, the big games are obviously going to be Arsenal versus Newcastle this weekend, and then potentially Chelsea versus Forest on the final day of the season, depending on obviously Forest result. If Forest can obviously get a win, they obviously keep their bid of maybe even Champions League football alive for this season. A season that nobody in their right mind saw coming. But it could make for a very intriguing and interesting finale. I look at Arsenal's results and I don't think they're going to win against Newcastle. Newcastle have been a bit of a bogey side for them these past couple of years. And I just think that with the bit between their teeth and with obviously maybe Arsenal still hurting from Champions League exit and an absolute failure of a season as far as what they're concerned, maybe Newcastle could take advantage there. And Newcastle tend to do so. The physicality side that they have of Newcastle could really shine through. And the killer instinct up front of Isak as well could be huge. Also could be huge the absentees of both Mikel Merino through suspension and Declan Rice seemingly for injury. That could really hinder Arsenal as well. It isn't out of the realms of possibility for Arsenal to fall out of the Champions League places, of course, given the fact that the points differences between themselves and Aston Villa and Forest, of course. But they do have one saving grace. The fact that they will be facing Southampton at the end of the season on the final day. And that realistically should be the 3 points that they definitely need to confirm and officially secure Champions League football for the next campaign. Slight silver lining in a disappointing and dark season for the Gunners. So they will at least get 3 points, in my opinion, from a possible 6. Newcastle, I can see them taking 6 from 6. I think they will beat at Arsenal, and then I think they will beat Everton on the final day of the season to fully cement their place in the Champions League for the next campaign. Manchester City, they're facing both Bournemouth and Fulham, both on the beach, both not really got much to play for other than places. I think that they will get 6 out of 6 there. Chelsea will take on Man United and Forest, like I mentioned. I have a sneaky feeling that they'll get a point against United. And that might sound weird to say, with obviously United maybe having all their eggs in the Europa League. Well, definitely having all their eggs in the Europa League basket. So maybe there is going to be a lot of rotation from Ruben Amorim on the day. And that could obviously work in Chelsea's favour. But United are a bit of a bogey side for Chelsea as well. And as we've seen a fair few times this season, even though United have been poor, in the bigger games, they have actually turned up in. So this one could be a very intriguing one and not one to be taken for granted. I'm going to go with a point. I would be leaning more towards a Chelsea win, but I think maybe United get something from that game. And then, of course, against Forest at the end of the season, I think Chelsea will win. I think they'll secure the 3 points there. Don't know whether it'll be enough considering other teams' performances in the final 2 games, but with Forest obviously falling apart these past few games and obviously falling away, and I think there are reasons for that, as we'll get onto a little later. I just think that Chelsea might be just catching them at the right time, and that will grant them 4 points from a possible 6. Villa are facing the 2 Europa League finalists in Spurs and Manchester United, and of course I think with both teams having their eyes on the final, I think Spurs having their eye on the final, and then United, of course, coming off the back of that final, because remember the Europa League is actually being played before the last day of the season. So I think with that being said, I think that Villa will go into that final game the fresher of the 2 teams, and I think they'll take advantage and get the 3 points that they need. And obviously they'll have the extra incentive as well of playing for Champions League football. So I think Villa will take 6 from 6. And West Ham against Forest, I think with Forest's recent form, I wouldn't be surprised if West Ham get a draw from that game, in all honesty. I think that could genuinely be a possibility for them. And then, of course, as I mentioned previously, I don't think they're going to get anything from Chelsea. So I see them getting only 1 point from their final 2 games. And if my predictions are to come true, by the way, it would leave a Premier League table like this. Newcastle United to get 2nd place on 72 points with Champions League football. Arsenal to come 3rd in the worst 2-horse race imaginable on 71 points, but guaranteeing themselves Champions League football. Manchester City on 71 points, guaranteeing themselves Champions League football, alongside, if my predictions are to come true, Aston Villa with 69 points. 2 points ahead of Chelsea, who will finish 6th in a Europa League spot, which will be disastrous for them. And above Forest, who will, of course, finish on 63 points, having only obtained 1 point from a possible 6. If my predictions are to come to fruition and materialise. Like I say, guys, this is how it looks right now. I see Arsenal getting 3 points, which would definitely secure them Champions League football for next season. Newcastle, I see getting all 6, which will secure them Champions League football and actually see them leapfrog Arsenal. City will get 6 as well. They'll go level on points with Arsenal, but will likely fall behind Arsenal due to goal difference. Aston Villa will overtake Chelsea. They'll take 6 from 6, whilst Chelsea will only take 4 from 6, in my opinion. And Forest will only take the 1 and will still remain in 7th. But that's still a fantastic season for Forest as well. I think the only problem with Forest is that they fell away at the wrong time due to a lack of squad depth. They've had an unbelievable season. They have played above and beyond. They've played out of their skin. They've also had a very lengthy FA Cup run as well that has seen them go the distance in about 2 or 3 of the FA Cup games in terms of extra time and things. I just think the lack of squad depth has been their Achilles heel a little bit, Forest, and that's why they fell away at the wrong and most crucial time of the campaign, which is unfortunate, but like I say, no one was expecting anything of them this season. So obtaining European football, even if it is the Conference League, is still a fantastic achievement by the Nottingham-based club, a fantastic step in the right direction, and it's definitely something that they can build upon. They will obviously have European football that they will probably enjoy. They'll enjoy going to different places, enjoy playing different teams, and it will be something of, I think, should be something that is celebrated and is exciting for them. The prospect of being in a different competition, and a competition as well in which isn't out of the realms of possibility for them to maybe win for next campaign. So that could be something worth looking for as well. But look, those are just my thoughts, comments, opinions, and most of all predictions on how I think this race for Europe is going to pan out in the final 2 games of the current campaign. Arsenal, Newcastle, Aston Villa and Man City, in my opinion, will obtain Champions League football alongside Liverpool, whilst Chelsea will get Europa League football and Nottingham Forest will get Europa Conference League for the next campaign. Let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling. Get involved in the comments section with your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, about this chosen topic at hand. And also, don't forget to like the video on the way out if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching and listening as always. And of course, thank you all for your continued support or brand new support to the channel. It really does mean a lot to me. It will always be appreciated, never taken for granted. Can't thank you guys enough. You guys are absolutely awesome. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will soon speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers guys, thanks everyone for watching. Take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll speak to you all again very, very soon.